Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
And the special guest Ed Gutter.
What up? What up?
Yeah,
what up,
so no, man, Ed is we gonna get into how I met him, kind of sorta, because there's one of the questions that go into that. But Ed is a very talented graffiti artist and he spins cuts. Before I knew about his art, I actually came and I saw you spinning. I want to say you probably spinning 45s at a club off of Sunset, El Cid, maybe upstairs.
Maybe. I don't really remember right now, but
probably,
yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Do you spin 45s though?
Yeah.
I think he was there, but anyway, we'll talk about it because I'll get into who your homeboy is in the mutual link. But also, you know, Ed's one of those dudes that pops up in some of these obscure spots. And the last time I got up with him was the cookies party.
Oh yeah.
That was ridiculous, man. That was ridiculous. It's like they promoted so they threw a cannabis party. They promoted it. I think he said he had like 2 weeks to promote it or whatever, but like the line, the line was ridiculous, dude. I mean, like when I say ridiculous, it was probably about 200, 300 people in line. It was people that were spending the night up there to get in and all this, that, and the third. And homeboy Gabe, yeah, homeboy Gabe, he called me up and he's like, oh man, come on down, don't trip, I got you, woo, 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 woo. So I took one of my homeboys, we go up there. Well, first we drive around and there's no parking. And I see the line and I was like, man, it's people in this line that will not be getting in, man. I hate to just, you know, look at the reality of it because it was cold too. I want to say it was summertime, but it was, it was kind of cold. So anyway, the homeboy said, nah, man, just park and just come to the front. Boom. Got the VIP treatment, stepped in, and bam, saw Ed Gutter while there was so much cannabis going on. And, you know, and it's crazy because it was like the who's who of the cannabis business. Like I saw a couple growers in there, and I was like, man, these guys are celebrities. Like, if you didn't know them as growers, you wouldn't know what you were looking at. But it was like, that was like seeing a Nas or a Jay-Z or something like that. Like they had the top genetics guys back there roaming around and whatnot. But anyway, I say all that to say, man, Ed is a cool dude. We gonna hop into it. So how were you introduced to hip hop?
Oh man, I guess can't really remember, but I mean it could have been through the radio, it could have been through my cousins. You know, I was born in the 80s, so like it was everywhere. You know, when I was growing up, we would go to like a lot of car shows with my dad, so they would have DJs there and they'll be playing that. I mean, it's as far back as I can remember. I mean, it's always been around me. It's always been everywhere I go. So I couldn't really pinpoint where I exactly heard it the first time, but I mean, as far back as I remember, I would always hear it around. You know, it would always be around.
Do you think hip hop? How do you think hip hop influenced the world?
Oh man, heavily. Like, shoot, just I mean, talk about all the elements. Just graffiti itself is like worldwide. I mean, I feel like hip hop changed a lot of things. Where like even with the music itself, like you could take it back to like the original samples that people sample for the beats, and like they made those songs that no one will really pay attention to. Now, like those records are worth a lot of money because so and so sampled it. You know, things like that. So I think hip hop really shaped a lot of everything that's happening right now. You know, like it's pretty much everywhere now. Like everywhere. Like you go to any country and they're playing hip hop. You know, there's people that are still like there's still b-boys going on and all that stuff. You know, so like you go to Switzerland and they could have like a b-boy jam going on. You know, like that's how big it is now. Like it's everywhere.
So tell me this. So your pops used to take you to car shows, and then that would kind of, you know, you'd hear music and you'd be at the car shows. So you talking like car shows located where?
Oh, Los Angeles,
Like the East Side?
LA County. Either it would be either like in the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
It would be at the convention center. Those are the huge ones, and
Yeah,
then it would be
yeah,
like
yeah.
local parks. Local parks from everywhere, southeast. The west side. Yeah.
Because, and the reason why I say that is because the funny thing about it, me here, and I'm positive I heard you spin records. You might not remember, but yeah, I'm positive I heard you spin records because you're spinning old is what you were spinning. And
okay,
do you think that the car shows influenced you spitting oldies, and then kind of like your don't take offense to what I'm about to say, and you correct me however you need to politically correct me, but your style is kind of like a Latino graffiti, like you mix graffiti with like Latino. What would be the correct?
Well, the correct term, probably like Chicano, like tattoo style, because I was learning how to tattoo a few years back, and when I was in that world, I got introduced to like all kinds of different art, all kinds of different artists. So you got the traditional art, which is really those tattoo artists. They tattoo nothing but bold lines, thick lines, bold colors, and then you got the black and gray, which a lot of people they call it like the Chicano tattoo art, which is all the fine lines, powder shading. Really, you get more detail with that. So I was introduced to both worlds, and just being around everything, I felt more comfortable doing the Chicano stuff just because I felt like it's right up my alley. I was able to like do better art doing that than trying to do traditional stuff. So that just carried on, and then as far as me playing oldies, it's always been around me, but why I really started playing them is because I started collecting some of those soul records because they were just hip hop samples to me. So I would buy them. They would sample the intro of it or a part of it, and that's why I really liked the record. But then like I started hearing other people, playing the same records too. So I said, shoot, there's something going on with this. Started getting more in the scene, and next thing you know, I'm here. I'm buying soul here, soul there, But I also spin funk and disco, freestyle, a little bit of everything.
Okay, I looked into it too deep. I was I was like, okay, he's going to car shows. His style, like the pitch. If you wouldn't have sent me a picture, when I went to your IG page, there was one particular piece of art that you drew that kind of jumped out at me, and it was a Chicano female, and she kind of had big breasts, and she was like drooling on her own. Like on her own breast, kind of sort. Yeah, that ain't kind of sort. That's what was going on. That was going on.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of dope. But also looking at your IG page, and then we've talked outside of the social media world, and you've shown me art, and it looks like a combination between the Chicano and graph art. But it doesn't look like, I've seen some people try to do it, and it like either they're good at one or they're good at the other, but you kind of, the way that you mix them together is kind of dope, where how you bring both of them together, and it's like the integrity of graffiti along with the integrity of the Chicano art, and that's kind of dope. But
thank you.
What would you say is your favorite genre of music?
Of music?
Yep, your favorite genre?
Yeah, I think it would have to be jazz. I really like jazz.
Never would have thought that.
Yeah, I just all those records I just buy them for myself, for my own entertainment. Yeah, I got into it actually through hip hop, just the same way, collecting samples, and like, oh dang, this is a jazz record they sampled for this track, Like in the 80s and 90s, they were doing a lot of that stuff. So that's what I was trying to find those samples, and come to find out that they're all jazz records. So I listened to the whole LP, and I was like, man, I really dig this stuff. So started looking more into it, getting into Charlie Parker, things like that, Miles Davis, and I really enjoyed it. It's mellow stuff. Good music.
I'm glad we having this conversation, because if I would have just went off of you coming by my office and me seeing you spend 45s that one time and
Yeah.
looking at your art, I'd have been like, oh man, he's just hella been the lowrider oldies like that, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's your thing. And I apologize for prejudging you like that because
No, it's all good.
I'm seeing something totally, totally new.
funny.
No, but that's
Yeah.
dope though. That's dope that you could appreciate the jazz.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, love it. Definitely.
Yeah, what type of damn, my thing froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we good.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, so you say you do graffiti and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your sign name, your tag name, if you're allowed to tell, if you not understand.
Oh man. Shit. I mean, I'm not really that known in the graph game. I don't you know. I used to write Rotten from SK.
Rotten?
Yeah.
I knew that was you that tagged my grandma's. No, yeah.
You know, I still do it here and there. You know, we got like legal walls that we do, and I still get hired to do stuff like that. Like my last job was I painted the backdrop for what's her name? Coley Ray. She had that song with that Blick Blick track.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I painted, had me do a piece that said Blick Blick on the studio wall. So yeah, that was the last gig I got with graffiti.
Okay.
So yeah, man, I've been a couple things here and there.
Uh-huh. What's your favorite hip hop movie?
Hip hop movie, dang, you know what? Like on the graffiti side, it would have to be Star Wars. But like as far as just hip hop with the music and everything, oh man, I think Belly. I really like Belly.
What?
Yeah.
Belly, man, that's the best intro to any.
Oh
film,
yeah,
man.
come on, man.
Is that what the
Dude,
you talking about with the girl?
Every time I drop that track, everyone like starts like, "Oh shit, Belly, like that."
Yeah. It's not just the girls, all of them, like Nas,
Club
It's just
DMX,
all of it. The way they did it,
Yeah.
like with the black light, slow motion, you know,
And the
like they really
teeth?
captured like,
Whew.
yeah.
You said the teeth.
Yeah, they teeth. They had the glow in the dark teeth and stuff.
Oh.
They had, man, that's the hardest intro of all time. To a
Nah.
Nope.
Okay, so tell me this. Belly or Menace to Society, as far as I'll let you, I want you to go, Jeremy, and you, Ed. Belly or Menace to Society, as far as like cult following. Well, no, they're different because a lot of people was on Menace to Society, but I think they were both very valid in their own way for you know, the cultural impact. I'll say Homeboy eating a banana in Belly was definitely, you know what I'm saying? That was definitely something that contributed to the culture directly, other than all the other stuff. But
yeah.
Wait, what was the question?
Which do you think had more cultural impact?
Oh, Menace to Society, but at the same time, all those South Central movies were more influential just as a whole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Belly was more like a music video stretched into a film. No offense to Hype Williams at all, but you know, it was like a stylistic thing more than the story thing. Belly's story wasn't all that. At the end of the day, just facts. You know what I'm saying? But it was style wise. The story wasn't all that, but style wise, what?
Nah, DMX was he was talking to Homeboy from the Nation of Islam at the end and the whole little nine, and then Nas wanted to go to Africa. That was kind of.
These are all great music video concepts, but fleshed out into a full story. You know, let's you know. Look, hey, you asked me a question. I'm just telling you the truth. Hey, you know, I don't go against my boy. I just tell facts. I mean, the truth, the only thing that reigns supreme. And Belly was, like I said, like if you look at music videos, they always have these elements to it. You know what I'm saying? DMX saying like real tough prayer while getting reformed and stuff. You know what I mean? Or him, you know, smashing the chick. Getting caught cheating and smashing the shit. You know what I mean? These are dope scenes. But that's a film. I
never looked at it like that, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, even the intro, it was unnecessary, but it was just dope.
Oh, man.
It was dope. But yeah, Menace to Society, you know, what else? What's the other movies? Because Boys in the Hood, what is it? All of it. It's like about 4 of them that are like pivotal to just the hip hop genre, that they're part of the foundation blocks of what we think is South Central hip hop. So it's West Coast hip hop. I can't take away that.
When I condense them all together, I get Don't Drink Juice in the Hood.
Yeah, even that's pivotal. Sure. you can't, man. Look, those are classics, man. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, nah, dope. So what city did you grow up in, Ed?
Whittier, actually, yeah. I've been here since '91. We moved over here. Came from Commerce, and then moved out here. So I mean, I was pretty much born and raised here, Whittier. Yeah.
Nah, dope.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
Now I want to get back to this graffiti thing. So look, all right, what's your favorite piece?
Man, there's so many, but
yeah,
that I did or that someone else did.
I'm sorry, I hate when people ask me that because I'll just say both. Both are good answers. But
my favorite piece that I've ever done far that I've done, I really like the one I did in Phoenix.
Okay.
Other people tell me that they like my older stuff just because it was a little different, a little more wild probably, but I would use a lot more colors before. Now I'm just getting a little more lazy, but you know, it still looks nice. So as far as my piece, that would be the one I did in Phoenix. And then as far as someone else, shoot, man, I don't know. There's a lot of people that get down, you know, and every time they paint something new, it always like wows me, you know. I really like looking at other people's stuff a lot. A lot of my homie stuff, like I don't know, it's hard to say, you know. I can't just pick one piece. I mean, everyone does amazing stuff.
I got a client that's downtown, not too far from Jungle Boys, but like in the cut, like those little downtown streets and whatnot. And I saw a wall where someone really hit up like all the Marvel, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, and but like it was on point, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, there was a lot of time taken in it and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And I got a picture of it. I was like, dang, but it's like where the street is, it's super in the cut where like it's not gonna even, they might even did it in the daytime. Like it's not gonna be any police like really rolling around that area. But I thought that was
a lot of those spots are like done in the daytime. You get permission from, and then you just rock out.
Yeah. How'd you get the name Ed Gutter?
Oh man, so kind of a funny story. So I had to make an account for I was having a birthday party for myself, right? This is like years ago, and I had to make an account for. I forgot what the website was, so I needed like an alias, and I was like, man, you know what? I want to make a name like, you know, so, kind of like something like a regular, something with the first name, last name, because I always liked like all the aliases like Wu-Tang had, you know. Like, you know, for example, like Method Man, he has like, who knows, over 10 names, you know, Johnny Blaze, all this stuff, you know, and so I was like, man, I want to give myself something like that, like a first name and a last name, but I want my first name to be like part of my real first name and just make up the last name. So my real name is Edgar, and like Ed, I was thinking like gutter, that's like part of the street, you know, I did graffiti, whatever. And like, if you say it fast, Edgar, Ed Gutter kind of almost sounds the same. So that's where that came from.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the first time you realized you had a talent for
art? In the second grade, I remember my teacher had us do a project. We had to draw mythical creatures. We had to pretty much make up a monster. So I just drew like a two-headed dragon. And then that's when she told me, she was like, wow, like yours is the best in the class, you know. And every time I would do something, she would always come up to my desk and look at what I was painting and stuff. And she would always hang my stuff on the, you know, on the wall to show it off for like parent teacher night or whatever, you know. So that's when I found out, like, I was like, oh shoot, like I'm actually kind of good at this. When I knew I was actually better was like in 5th grade when I won a contest we had a drought back then. I think, I forgot what the year was. But there was a drought in Alley County, and then San Gabriel water department came to school and they said, you know what, like we're having this contest for the kids. We're giving away grants, like $100, $50, and I ended up winning third place, but I still won, you know. And so that's when I was like, oh man, like shit, I'm actually, you know, I won third place out of all these kids in the school, so you know, I gotta have a little bit of talent.
Okay. Yeah, I used to I wish I did it more, but yeah, I used to draw, paint, and sculpt and stuff. I went to school,
Oh, dope.
went to school for creative performing arts in Cincinnati, Ohio for it. And as my
Nice.
mother would say, that's your real talent. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I used to draw in class and stuff like that. You know, the whole like, oh, you know, I was bored with schoolwork, so I would focus more on the drawing and stuff. And you know, I didn't mean to, but and that's also how I got getting bullied, because dudes will threaten you, but when they see you get like talented, they feel like you got some value. They be like, "Oh man, he drew Spider-Man, man. Hey, draw me Cyclops
Oh yeah.
from Captain America." So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it carried me a lot.
Yeah, man. I would always have people like, hey, help me with my project. I got, you know, because you would do like, you would do, you know, your report, and then you needed like some type of artwork to go with it, an illustration. People would always tell me, oh, come on, help me out, be my partner for this. Like, people are always trying to pick me just to draw for them, you know. So yeah, I know the feeling.
Have I ever given you any work, Edgar? Ed?
Illustration wise,
Have
I don't think so.
I've just
I know I
done
helped out
stuff.
with a few things.
I know we've done a
here and
couple
there,
things.
helped you out
I'm like,
with.
yeah, we got to have that conversation though. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, we
definitely.
definitely have to have that because I know I printed stuff for you and done stuff like that, but
Oh yeah,
and I have your art in my head, but I'm like, did I ever pay? You made me think like, man, I need to go through my folders, man. I need to resurrect some of this art if I
Oh
got
yeah.
something. So what was the soundtrack to your junior high school experience?
Oh man, Soul Submission, Snoop Dogg, West Coast stuff. A lot of West Coast stuff. Some New York stuff. I was barely getting into like New York. I for some weird reason I never really heard New York like hip hop. It was just mostly like West Coast. I haven't a reason why. I don't even know why. But my cousin, he was older than me. He was already DJing. That's how I got into DJing. And like he was introducing me to that music. He would listen to the Wake Up Show. And every now and then, I would spend the night, and we would stay up late and listen to it, and that's how I got introduced to like Gang Starr and stuff like that. So like back in those days, I was listening to like a lot of Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Social Mischief, Ice Cube, just a lot of West Coast hip hop.
Nah, that's dope. That's more, hey man. I'll say this. Man, I may have heard the Wake Up Show twice. Like, man, that was just too late for me, man. I was in a club or I was on my way to a club or something like that, but I wasn't. I went up there one time to drop off some wax, you know, to see if we can get it played or whatever. And but hey, I say that to say, man, y'all have some true dedication, man, to be waiting up, because it was like what, midnight or 2:00 in the morning or something like that.
It was like midnight, so I'll be yawning and stuff, and you know, the cool thing is that my cousins, they had their own room. Like they had I guess it was a pool house, and that was their bedroom. It was a huge room, just one like a big old loft. You know, it was a huge room with computers and, you know, DJ system and, you know, a boombox to record the show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun times. I don't think I ever stood up to listen to the whole thing. I knew I would fall asleep by probably like the first half hour. You know, I was already tired.
Yeah, I just only thing I really remember about it was that I know they used to play like whatever was the new underground stuff or whatever, along with the old stuff. Like they would drop stuff on it. But I also remember, oh man, they would have some battle rapping going on, man. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you know, funny thing, you know, nothing against it. I'm like, man, but it was just like, man, that battle rapping at midnight or 2:00 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just always on a mission. But nah, that's dope that you know what I'm saying? You checked him out.
Yeah.
What do you think your journey would have been after you graduated high school?
I thought I was gonna go to college, you know, the usual plan, go to college, study. You know what, honestly, I didn't know what I was gonna study, but I was, you know what, I'm just take general ed and just see what pops at me. And it was actually the opposite. I was working at a record store and I just stood there.
Hey man, that's funny. Funny how it all comes to be. So the reason
Yeah.
I know you, I just wanted to kind of get into it a little bit down the road. You were kind of part of this family that I got once I got real cool with Thomas DJ Gargamel. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, oh, you were his, oh man. Yeah, okay. Now I remember exactly how I met you. Yeah, you and Gargamel had projects going on and I was working with you guys. And then I
Yeah.
kind of met you because you were the graphic designer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what it was. That's how I first
Okay.
saw your graphic design. But it's crazy because the graphic design that you did for the project that the two of you guys have is like totally, that's more like Illustrator, Photoshop type of thing. And then I think you had me print some stuff for you personally. And then I got to see that other, like the graph along with the text and, you know, like all that kind of art. So how'd you meet Gargamel?
Funny dang. So I was in an art show with his pops.
Oh, okay.
So it was crazy. So they had a meet and greet for all the artists in the show, right? Prior to the actual art show. So, you know, I showed up, whatever. So I'm there hanging out and I'm sitting down and then I see this guy, older guy, come up. He's like, "What's up, youngster?" I'm like, "What's up, OG?" And then we start chopping it up. "Hey, you're in the show?" "Yeah, yeah." And we start showing up each other's work, whatever. And he was with Gargamel's mom, you know, it was both of his parents. So she starts talking, "Oh yeah, my son DJ's, oh cool, who's your son?" "Gargamel." "Gargamel? Like, really?" Like, "Damn, we're from the same crew, but I haven't even met him yet, you know?" So I actually met his parents before I even met him. So then the night of the art show, he was DJing there at one of the stages. So I made it a point to go over there and meet him, and his parents were there. I said what's up to them. And he saw me talking to him. He must have been probably tripping out. I went up to him and I introduced myself, and ever since then we've been tight.
Oh wow. Yeah, nah, nah, Gargamel's a cool dude, man. Him and
Oh
the Bulldog, the famous.
yeah, yeah, Junie.
Yeah, him and the famous Junie, man. You know what I'm saying? They done came through. So nah, that's dope.
Yeah,
That's dope.
yeah.
What do you what job have you had that gave you the best life experience?
Man, I don't even know. Shoot, I do everything out of the pad, so it's all pretty much the same. But I mean, like, I mean, dang, life experience. It would probably have to be. Oh man, you know what? A long time ago, we painted for Starsky and Hutch. We did a backdrop for them in downtown under the 6th Street Bridge before it got torn down. This is like, I don't even remember what year it was, the early 2000s. We're out there all day and working with Warner Brothers, and yeah, it was dope. That made me like, it opened up my eyes to like yo, like we can actually take this, you know, like shit far. You know, you just gotta apply ourselves and meet the right people, pretty much, you know. But yeah, that was pretty exciting for me. Like I felt like I was just doing my thing and getting paid for it, you know. I'm like, man, these guys are paying for us to paint illegally, kind of, you know. This is dope.
Okay.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. Who would you say are your top art influences?
Man, shoot, there's so many. I mean, for sure, Mr. Cartoon is one of them. I mean, you can probably tell. Let me see. Can't even think like modern artists. I mean, shoot, I couldn't even. Can't even think right now, man. I'm just going blank because you
Ah,
know
nah.
what? I look up to. I don't really. It's messed up, but I don't really know a lot of their names. But I look up to like a lot of like the old comic book artists.
Okay.
But I can't even think of one right now. Yeah, I gotta. I just look at the art. I don't even like. I should look into like who drew this, who did the pencils, who did the the inking.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just look at reference. I just buy old comic books and I just go through them and kind of like, oh, I like this. I'm gonna try to mimic it, or try to add that to my style.
You
But
know,
yeah,
I ended up meeting this guy who shoot, man, he's part of the family now. He was working for, I want to say, it's crazy. So he's a comic book illustrator. He teaches comic book illustration, but he works for DC. He does stuff for DC and he does stuff for Marvel. And they were doing a Pharcyde Bizarre Ride cover, Guardians of the Galaxy, like take on it or whatever. So they had sent the magazine, and you know me, man, on the whole managerial thing, I'm always like, man, not like I want to get to know everybody that comes across, but like, man, you never know how, you know, if you'll need a favor or want to work with a person down the line or whatever. Yeah. So Brown told me to hit him up. So I hit him up, sent him and his family. Well, I said, would it be cool if I sent you guys some shirts? And so I did like some Pharcyde shirts for him and his family that were kind of like, I know I did a Superman color one that was like royal blue, like I hooked them up with some stuff like that. So anyway, we became cool. And, you know, I asked him and I was kind of like, man, you know, as far as the Marvel, because I'm not a comic book guy. So I'm thinking, okay, if you do stuff for Marvel, you got to only do stuff for Marvel. If you do stuff for DC, you only have to, but it was crazy. It's just kind of like, you know, if you are talented enough to get the job, you get the job. And it's not even about, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like you got to be on one side. Yeah, or another.
That's dope. Yeah, dang.
Yeah, shout out to Sean Inkpo. He actually is a part of a group that Brown has where they got some pretty cool hip hop stuff that you'll be hearing. And you'll be hearing about the next 5-6 months for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Yeah, speaking of comic books, I want to know what's your thoughts on Black Panther?
Who, me or
you? Well, anybody.
You know what? Honestly, I haven't even seen the movie. I've never even like seen a comic book, so like it's all new to me.
You never saw the first Black Panther?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of TV, man. I mostly watch documentaries, but like now since I gotta like be calm, take it easy. Now I'm starting to watch TV now. So yeah, like I never really got into movies and nothing like that. Like even growing up, like my pops, we would never go to like the video store and rent movies. We were just there at the pad. So that's why I started. I would draw, you know, entertain myself.
Wow. Yeah, man.
And then like in, I think maybe like high schools when we got our DJ system. So every night, just up there, just practicing, trying to match beats. Yeah, I would rarely watch TV.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got your expert take on the newest phenomenal movie, Black Panther. That was an interesting take, very unique point of view. Stylistically, I was also going to follow up that with what was your thoughts on the sad death of Chadwick Boseman? But I'm pretty sure you're gonna be like, hey, I don't watch TV. That's gonna be the response. Who's your top musical influences?
Man, I don't
listen to music.
Yeah, I don't think I like. I never looked at music that way, you know, like, you know. But there's DJs that I really like. There's DJs that I like a lot, you know, like you know the Mystical Scratch Pickles, they're dope.
Artists. So if you were DJing tomorrow, you had a corporate gig. 3 records that you would take with you to this corporate gig.
Man.
3 records that would definitely go.
Shoot. Man, you know what? That's kind of tricky because I always kind of do my homework on the crowd, you know? So if I know what type of crowd's going to be there, I kind of like, you know? But like definitely Boss Gags, Lowdown.
All right.
That's definitely one of them that always kind of gets everybody, you know? Shoot, I don't know. I kind of suck at that, you know? I have to know like who's going to be there, what kind of people, and then like, you know, I could pinpoint, okay, I'm going to take this, I know they'll like this, you know? Because there'll be a couple of times where I think a record's going to be a hit and like no one's feeling it, and like, oh man, like dang, I struck out.
All right. Hey, man, I feel like I'm learning a lot about you tonight, man. Everything that my mind thought, opposite. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
crazy.
How,
Yeah.
how about like I don't know. I was really big into graffiti culture, especially like I would say like little high school and then a little post high school. I got into it too much. I got arrested, and that's what kind of killed my graffiti career. But I ran it. Yeah, I ran into some like really dope graffiti artists. I remember I told them like, "Yo, I got arrested." That's what slowed me down. It was like, "Oh, just once." So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Ed's looking very calm. As you talking about arresting, you getting arrested and all kinds of stuff. Ed ain't even look to the left and look to the right. Like, man.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You ever got arrested for tagging?
Once, yeah.
Once, okay.
Yeah, it was like I was like freshly 18, so I got scared. I thought I was going to county, but it was just going to the station, spend the night, 6 hours, and then that's it. Got released, and I was like, "Dang, that's it." And then another time in Seattle, I was only up there for like maybe like half hour, and then they released us. Yeah, but those
And
are only 2 times.
so
Mhm.
how much money did this? How much money did this get? At the times that you got arrested, how much
Oh
money did
man,
this cost?
it was cheap. The first time here, it was only $100.
Damn,
That was it. Yeah, and like 80 hours community service.
that's
So
kind of a deterrent. Not too much. I mean, they didn't go. You think that they go a
yeah,
little harder than that, but you know.
yeah, it wasn't too crazy. I was just caught tagging with a marker, so it was like nothing crazy, and like it's not like they were looking for me and like, oh, we got a big fish, It was just like local kid or whatever doing graffiti. And the cops probably didn't have nothing else to do, so like, let's just take this guy in.
So you were out there and they just happened to pass by you, or
Yeah, I had my hood on. I remember like it was a rainy day, so I had my hood on. So I'm on the catching the tag on the floor, and I look up and they're like right there. So I was like, dang man, I couldn't even run or nothing. Yeah,
didn't
red-handed.
didn't think to break, none of that. You're just like, oh, they got me.
That's it. Yeah, they got me up.
Smart man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got arrested and pretty much the same thing. They did a little scare tactic thing with me and my homie, but my mother, she took it so seriously.
Yeah,
She was like, that was my one fear is to not see my baby behind bars, and yeah, I was locked up, but I had fun, man. I ain't gonna lie, like
oh yeah,
getting to know
yeah,
the
it's
people.
fun.
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
that adrenaline rush.
yeah, when you just not talking about getting arrested, but just when you just meeting the people, when you just
Oh
visiting, you
yeah,
can, yeah,
He said just visiting.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's when you just visiting is cool, but yeah, if you have to stick around, that's the bad part.
yeah.
Uh, you play video games?
Nah, that's another thing I never really got into either.
Dang. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, another thing that got me into the art was besides the rich culture that is overlooked like crazy, is I was played Jet Grind Radio, and
Oh, okay.
and it was this other game called Getting Up.
Oh, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the ads in the magazines and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was by Echo, and
yeah.
Talib Kweli played the main character.
Yep. I
Yeah.
think I actually got that on 12-inch. That track that they did for that.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Yeah, they did some dope remixes on there. They had they remixed some Biggie track that was tight on there too, whatever. But yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
thought you'd be
remember.
familiar with it, but he was like,
Oh yeah,
nah.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I remember seeing it, and a couple homies had it. I watched them play it. I'd be like, I don't even. By that time, like the last console I played with was Super Nintendo. So by the time that came out, I'm like, dude, what are all these buttons for? Like, shoot, I would just get dizzy just watching the screen. I'm like, nah, I can't play this. I don't even know how to move forward on this thing, man. I'm used to like just panning left and right. That's it.
That's funny. They need a DJ game. They should make.
They had that DJ Hero. I never played it, but
Oh
I
right, they
played
did have
Guitar
that.
Hero. I played Guitar Hero. That was fun, but I never got a chance to play the DJ Hero. No one ever had it.
Yeah, I think that was the end. That was towards the end of that phase of games.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the last one that they did.
So how would you say that your belief system influences your art, or your belief system is one thing and then your art is another thing?
You know what? I kind of keep them separated. I mean, as far as like my like religious stuff, like I do throw in some Catholic. I'm a Catholic, so I throw in some Catholicism in there. I'll do like some praying hands, you know, stuff like that.
So you're not
Some Sacred
thinking.
Hearts, you know.
So you're
But I
not
mean,
thinking
that's.
about.
Go ahead.
Sorry to talk over you, but I keep on
Uh,
thinking about that one that I saw this morning. So I was about to say,
oh.
so you don't think about your belief system when you're drawing a very well endowed Latina drooling on her tots, you
Oh
know.
wow.
Nah, that's just like acting wild, you know. Like, let me
That was
see
a
how many
good
people
one,
would like it.
man.
Yeah.
Nah, so talking about your faith, you said it was cool if I brought it up. So when I was talking to Ed, he broke down to me that he had a stroke like a month ago. And I was like, damn. And so he was like, yeah, I was lucky. I was just, kind of paralyzed for like 6 hours or something like that. You said, 6 hours or something like that. And
Yeah.
then, you were able to kind of, you mentioned earlier that you're taking it easier and all that kind of stuff. So being you're not an older guy. I'm definitely older than you. I don't know how old you are, but I could almost say that it's scientifically proven that I would probably be older than you are.
Oh
But
wow.
oh yeah, man, for sure. Ed's younger. He's younger, dude. So having a stroke and then not having it be a very strong, and I know it changed your life, but it could have been a lot worse than what it was, because you
Yeah.
said you still have your facilities, you're not paralyzed, and you were paralyzed when you first had it. So after doing that, how does that change your perspective?
Oh man, just pretty much like. Well, I mean, prior to this, I was always grateful to wake up every morning, but now it's a whole different feeling now. Like now, I think like I'm grateful for like even just being able to open my eyes, even taking a breath, even being able to talk, you know, because I was laying on the ground for like maybe like an hour, not being able to do none of these things except look around and just kind of like heavily breathing, can't even open my mouth. So like now, even just like the fact that I could talk right now, like it's a huge blessing, you know, and like I
Mhm.
just get up every day and I'm super grateful, you know, and like now just pretty much, I mean, it sounds cliche, but don't take every day for granted, you know, and the people around you too, you know.
No, I would say the dope thing um is that since you work for yourself, you can kind of take the time you need, and then you can kind of move at your pace. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? When
yeah,
you do,
that's a good thing. That's a
yeah,
good part
no,
right there. Yeah.
that's definitely dope. One more thing before we hop back into the line of questioning.
Hmm.
You had told me I don't know, I think I called you to try to see if I can get you to help me do something or something, and I think I remember you telling me that you were doing some bags for Usher.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, that's probably confidential. I shouldn't even say it.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Now I
Okay,
can talk
okay.
about it. It's already, yeah, it's already over. Yeah, I can
Yeah, I
talk
hate
about
to
it
do that
now.
because people do that to me, and I'm like, man, if I show you something, you can't tell. No, we gotta wait. You gonna
Mhm.
mess me,
Yeah.
you gonna mess me up. You know what I'm saying? So how do you get a gig working with Usher and doing, was it graffiti that you did on the bags?
No, it was just actually ended up me just painting a peach emoji on the bag.
Oh, okay.
That's what it came down to in the end. After like a lot of going back and forth, that's what it came down to. But my boy Marco, he goes by Marco the Curator. He's a stylist. He was I'm not sure if he still works with them, but I know he was styling the Migos. He was
Okay.
styling them, and I forgot what other people, but he's done a lot of stuff. And he linked me up with his homegirl, and then she gave me a call. She's like, "Yo, you know, I got this project. Like, can you do it?" Like, said Marco. Marco told me you're able to paint on anything. I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, just with the right time, the right material. Yeah, let me know." So she's like, "Yeah, yeah." So she broke it down to me. So pretty much it was a duffel bag that was like fake leather, and so they wanted me to paint at first like kind of like a peach pattern, like peaches
Hmm.
everywhere, but like a kind of like a monogram, just a pattern going around the whole bag. So okay, cool. So I did some mock-ups, and then the people that I guess Usher's people, they weren't feeling it. So a lot of going back and forth. They finally settled on just one big peach on each side of the bag, just and right in the middle of it. So that's all I ended up painting. And they were. I'm not sure if they used it or not. I seen people seen the show, but it's for his show in Vegas right now that he has.
Oh,
I
okay.
forgot what it's called. Shoot.
I
But
saw him
anyways,
on.
yeah, he has a show in Vegas, and one of the girls that's in it, she's supposed to be play like the madam in the show, and she's carrying that duffel bag, and then inside of it there's a bunch of Usher dollars. I'm not sure if you heard of that.
Yep.
The Usher dollars. So it's
Usher
all full of
bucks.
Usher dollars, and she gets the money out of there, So, but I heard someone went to go see the show, and they're like, like I didn't see no one walk out with no bag. So I'm like,
What?
all right, I guess they didn't use it. I
And you
don't
know
know,
what? That's
but I
okay.
mean,
Man.
it's
As
still in
long
my
as you got
resume,
broke off, as long as you got broke off, you understand me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
tell I don't. It's funny because I have clients and they'll ask for my opinion when it comes to like art and stuff like that on the printing side of it. And I if I see something that's just really like it doesn't fit or something like that, if they I'll never volunteer it, because once you put it into a client's mind and you give them this feeling of because you just never know how a person really feels on the inside. So I just stay
Yeah.
out of that conversation. And I tell people, man, I look at so much art. If I paid attention to it like that, man, I'd be seeing it in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? And just, and just keep like that.
Yeah.
But for you, I could just see the frustration sometimes working with clients, because if you have to do drafts, like, man, you get that right person that feels like they want to be creative but knows nothing about art, man, you'll go back with drafts forever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Move this, 2 pixels to the left.
Mhm.
It's like, dang, come on. Yeah. It's frustrating a lot of times, especially like when you're doing first drafts and stuff. A lot of them they don't grasp that. This is just a sketch. It's not the final product. But some people want to see everything like pretty much finalized with all the colors. I'm like, man, if I do all these drafts like that, like it's gonna take me like longer than we talked about, and you ain't gonna have your stuff done on time. So you have to kind of visualize. I guess some people can't visualize what it would look like in color. So yeah, it's frustrating sometimes. I have to kind of go back and forth, and then I usually end up doing like something real simple, real quick, with color, kind of give them a little taste of what's gonna look like. But yeah, man, it's like some people can't visualize. It's a lot of back and forth, and it's like that's why I charge for revisions. After a few revisions, and then you gotta start charging me more. So yeah, they gotta
Yeah,
make up their
man. Nah,
minds.
you train people with that, because once they see they have to pay for it, then they're really gonna put thought in it to communicate with you to get it where they're trying to go.
Exactly.
Versus
Yeah.
like, oh man.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm sure you deal with that too.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the most iconic moment you've ever been a part of, or you ever witnessed?
Oh shit, man. I mean, I don't know, but you know what? I think it was dope when we did like with my boy Gargamel. We did like a whole 12-hour mixathon. A bunch of DJs we got together, and we all did like about an hour and a half set. So we started like from like 12 p.m. We didn't end until like it was supposed to go from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. We ended up finishing like around 4 a.m. That was a dope experience right there. I think that's like one of the things I'm always gonna remember.
No, that's dope, man. I'm like, man, two people, Gargamel, and I don't know, do you know Nancy Artiaga?
No.
Nancy, she does everything, man. She mover and shaker, artist management, liaison for a million people, marketing, just like she just does it all or whatever. But between her and Gargamel, man, I wonder which one's a real vampire, man. I'd have to say one of them. Gargamel, Shoot, Gargamel will go until
man.
I'll look 5 o'clock. He's just getting off of Instagram. Yep. 5 in the morning, I'll look on Instagram and he's just ending the live.
Yeah, there'll be times I'll be over there with him at the lives and he's like, all right, well, we're going for breakfast. I'm like, shoot, it's already that time. Dang. Yeah, all nighters, man.
Go ahead.
Nah. So what's your ultimate goal or how you like to be viewed in the long run?
Oh man, just I would really like to be known as just like a prolific artist, you know. I just want to try to, like, right now I just try to do as much artwork as I can, just put it all out there, you know. Being one of the most prolific artists, you know, at this time.
And you know, another thing that you do that we didn't talk about that I think is kind of dope, and I think it could be the, you know, the connection with Cartoon and you know, and those guys, but you're not too shabby on the photography thing too. You take some cool, you take some cool flicks, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that I just picked up from being around other people that take pictures and just actually paying attention to, like, I used to read a lot of magazines, so the ads would always capture me, like, dang, like that's dope how they shot that from this angle, you know. And then like seeing like catalogs, like from like Gucci and you know, houses like that. Like if you ever see a catalog, it's like it's all pictures, it's all images. And like you get something from Louis Vuitton, same thing, it's just all images. So they're showing you the whole line, but there's no wording in there, just all pictures. And it's like, it's just dope how they put everything together and like how the photographers shoot everything. That's what I started kind of like paying attention to, how they shot, and like kind of trying to mimic that sometimes. I remember some things and, you know, just look at that, and then like looking at other photographers around me, I look at their work and I'm like, dang, okay, cool. I'm trying to keep that angle in mind, you know. But when you get there, you forget everything. You're like, oh shit, okay, so what am I gonna do? All right, I'm just gonna try this, try that, you know. But yeah, it's something I took a photography class, and after that, like I started learning about different things, and you know, I just try to apply that every time I'm behind the camera. It's just a hobby that I enjoy, you know. But you know, we'll see where it goes.
That's dope.
I don't know if you heard. So you know, Nas dropped the album this week. Well, first of all, what's your thoughts on the album?
I really like it. I was actually bumping it today.
Okay.
I listened to it today for the first time, and I like it.
Okay. And I don't know if you heard 21 Savage made a comment on the Clubhouse app about he was basically there was a conversation on relevancy. And, you know, I don't know, I guess what it takes to be relevant, whatever. And when Nas' name came up, because Nas just dropped the album that day, 21 Savage said, Nas ain't relevant, right? And it started a huge outburst.
I bet.
You know, there's people taking both sides, whatever. You know, I mean, Nas is just chilling, so it ain't on him. But if you go to 21 Savage's Instagram to this day, and I mean, the album has been out for like almost a week now. Every day, like literally, it's just like the Beehive. Like Beyonce got the Beehive. I don't know what Nas gonna call these niggas, but they need to just give them a name because they are tearing 21 up. They like, yo, like Nas ain't relevant. Boy, you needed Drake in order to sell the album. But my question to you is, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, he's still relevant, you know, like as old as he is and still doing things, you know, that's still relevant, you know. He just did what, like, when was the last one that he dropped? How many years ago? Was it last year, like 2 years ago?
Oh, shoot, he dropped 2 albums last year.
Yeah, and then he just got off tour, or he might still be on tour right now for that. So, I mean, shit, Nas is one of my favorite rappers too, so... You know, when I heard I was talking to my boy Marco about this over the weekend. He's like, I'm like, how'd you like it? You hear? He's like, oh man, yeah, it's dope. And like, that's one of his favorite artists too. So that's one thing we got in common. So he's like, dude, you gotta check it out. And I mean, I liked it. It took me back to, you know, the Nas that I like.
Yeah. What was I say? Yeah. How would you define relevancy though?
Relevancy, I mean, it's just someone that's just constantly putting out work, you know. That's what it means to me. I mean, I don't know any other way. I mean, yeah, you just gotta be putting in that work.
I would give a definition, and Jeremy didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna just take liberty. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no, you sure can answer. Yeah.
And hop into the double dutch. I'll say this. To me, being relevant means that whether you're doing graffiti, whether you're doing comedy, whether you're doing music, you can identify with the audience. I won't say your audience, because your audience is probably going to get you, but it's kind of like, it's not about who you already have. It's about, who you can, how you can broaden your net and who you can get. But I think Nas is, I haven't heard the album, but I can say that Nas is articulate enough to communicate to multiple generations without, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's crazy you said that, because on the first track, they kind of said something like that in the end, like saying like, I already got these fans, and I could still get 15-year-old fans that'll still love me.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, yeah. Then he had a track about first time, like the first time you heard different people or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to relevancy, I think this is the thing. Some questions answer themselves. The fact that it was a conversation proves relevancy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be a conversation. Some stuff is dismissive. Like, if you was defending whether PD Pablo was relevant, I mean, that's not a question. Ain't nobody gonna say PD Pablo will be like, I ain't relevant, bro. Like, who's talking about me right now? You know what I'm saying? But you talk about Nas, and I'm like, to even mention that Nas is irrelevant is weird, because this is probably one of the most persevering artists. I mean, he survived Biggie and Tupac when they was hot. His name was in that conversation, and he was not first or second. And, he ended up, coming through all that. You talk about Nelly and Ludacris. When I was growing up, I was a Nas fan in a Nelly and Ludacris world. You know what I'm saying? If Nelly dropped, ain't nobody gonna care about that. Nelly drop right now, ain't nobody gonna care about that. You know what I mean? Certain people, and it's kind of cool because certain people are above that. Like, certain artists, I don't care. Like, they can drop. Like, Too Short to me can still drop. E40 can still drop. You know what I mean? So I think it's unfair to just be like, oh, these are relevant or not relevant. But yeah, I just try to get everybody else's take on it.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. And to educate you, Ed, Nas is Jeremy's favorite MC. You know what I'm saying? Favorite with a capital F.
Hey, I just be wanting to prove that Nas' name. Matter of fact, this is how relevant Nas is. I don't be the person to bring him up. I wait till his name come up on his own. Sometimes I do if it needs to, but he always jump in the conversation, and I just be chilling. So. Because you brought up Belly, and I was like, see, here it goes again.
Yeah.
And I'll say, man, Nas is he's a cool dude, man. We were on Rock the Bells with him back in 2008, and then he was an investor in Mixcloud, and we had the Mixcloud dinner at Sweet Chick, his restaurant off of Fairfax, near Melrose. And it was interesting because man, I ask everybody about how they make money. If I feel comfortable enough, or rather if I feel that they're comfortable enough to engage, I don't just say, oh, how you make money or whatever, but I was like, how does somebody have a successful restaurant that's across the street from Canner's Jewish deli on Fairfax? You got pastrami sandwiches on one side of the street, you got an organic soul food kind of spot with waffles, chicken and waffles and stuff across the street. And I'm like, how do you make this make sense as far as the geographical location of his restaurant? And he said something that was genius. To me, it was genius. And not just because he said it, but thinking about it, I said, how do you make it make money? And he was like, short story, or the short form of it, he was like, everybody likes luxury. You just have to package it so that everybody can afford a piece of it. They don't have to have a whole bunch of it, but just everybody wants some of it. So you just have to make it. And it was kind of like, you may go to a soul food restaurant and get some food, and you might spend like $25, $30, including a dessert, and then you have like all this food, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool food, it's good, but you get all this food for 30. Where with his restaurant, you're not gonna have a doggy bag like that. You know what I'm saying? You might have the little styrofoam container, after a $25 meal or something, but it's gonna be very good. And on top of it being good, you're gonna have organic chicken. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be, it's like it's that luxury. You know what I'm saying? And it, to me, I was kind of like, dang, that just breaks it down. Kind of like, okay, would you rather have food that tastes good and you don't have a lot of it, but it tastes really good, and then it's like not a bunch of carbs and just all that old crazy stuff, or would you rather have like a whole bunch of stuff that's like mediocre, and you know what I'm saying? As a kid, I could kind of identify with that train of thought of just like having more or whatever. But as an adult, I'm kind of like, man, give me oh, bless you. As an adult, I'm kind of like, man, just give me the bomb, man. I'll take,
Yeah.
I'll take it. So with that being said, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you?
Man, just time is our money is our luxury. That's our currency right there. Our time.
Yeah.
Spend it wisely. That's what Dogma would always tell me. Time.
Nah, dope. So this is a part of the interview where I ask you about the monkey hustle. So basically, a monkey hustle is something that's ever happened to you or happened to, i.e., a friend, where they had game ran on them. And I share this almost every podcast, but this right here is a $350 brick that was cleverly disguised as a camcorder once upon a time. I have 3 of them, and I keep this brick to just remind me of how cold this world is. You know what I'm saying? How cold it is. And that's a fact. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you were gonna show me the Supreme brick.
Oh yeah, man. That's just something that was wrapped up in some newspaper, very thin, recycled text, and kind of padded with a little bit of with the cardboard box that kind of had the cushion on it. Whoop whoop, and they had just supposedly hopped off a train and didn't want me to open it up right then and there because they weren't sure if they were followed. Had to make sure I got to the house. That was the 20-year-old me. You know what I'm saying? That was the 20-year-old me. So with you, man, what's the coldest hustle you ever had run on you, or the coldest hustle, i.e., you saw get ran on a friend?
So a while back, we were painting this wall off of in Commerce, off of I want to say Slauson and Greenwood, which is right by the 5 freeway. There's an entrance and exit, on ramp and off ramp right there. So we're painting, right, and we're like the walls right next to it, like pretty much we're like on the side of Jack in the Box. We're like by the parking lot. This guy walks up, hey, that's cool, you guys are doing. Hey, let me talk to you real quick. All right, I get down from the ladder. What's up? He's like, nice, I just got these iPods, and he had like a little bag, a little messenger bag. He had probably 5, 10 of them in there, And I'm like, then I see all these boxes and all these white boxes, and I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, check it out. He's like, here, turn it on. And like at this time, I've never seen an iPod in my hand. This is like they were still new. And this is when I think that like the screen on the actual original iPod wasn't even color yet, but I didn't know that because I haven't even had it in my hand.
That's the first one.
So I'm like, I turn it on. I'm like, oh shoot, it's got a color screen. He's like, yeah. He was hyping it up, and I'm like, damn, and it's green in color, because I've only seen them silver or white. and it was like in a translucent green. You know, it looked dope. I'm like, dang. He's like, yeah, he's up. You got some headphones, plug them in. You could, check it out. It's like, there's a little bit of music I threw in there, just, as a gift. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, how much you want? He's like, man, they're going for like 300. Just give me 150. So I'm like, dang, you know what? I only got 100. He's like, I'll take it. But like quick. And like, I should have been my red flag. He's like, he was quicker. He's like, I'll take it. Who cares? I'm like, all right. And then he just took the money, gave me the box, and he jammed. And that's it. And I'm like, I go back to my homie. My homie was right there with me. I'm like, oh, dude, I just bought an iPod. Like, how dope is this? He's like, all right, cool. Whatever. Let's finish the piece. So whatever, after I get home, one of my homies comes over. I'm telling him, hey, yo, I just bought this iPod. Check it out. He's like, this ain't no damn iPod. He's like, dude, this is like just a regular MP3 player. This guy's the one. I'm like, what are you talking about? So he brought his laptop over, hooked it up. He's like, look, it doesn't even bring up like the Apple Store or nothing when I plug it in. I'm like, what? He's like, look at this shit. Like, look at the menu. I'm like, dang, man, I just got for $100.
Hey.
And I never forgot that. So now when I don't even buy nothing unless it's like directly from Apple. Whenever I buy things like that, it's like, dang.
Hey, I'll say this, man. The fortunate part about that whole story was that you got something that you could throw value to, that you could use. You know what I'm saying? Me,
yeah, at least, yeah.
I have something dusty and dirty that I look at in my living room. Just remind me how cold.
They got you good.
how cold this world is, man.
Oh man.
Does it feel like? Was it heavy enough to be a camcorder, or did you feel like, man, this might be kind of heavy? Like,
I never held a camcorder before, dude. Dude, we talking about 1990, man. Man, it was like you had to be rich to have one, damn near, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
you ain't shake the box up though,
dude. Back then, camcorders was like $2,000, $2,500, man. You just saw them. You might have went to Circuit City and you know what I'm saying, and you saw one. You didn't touch one. You didn't have one.
You didn't touch one. You saw one. You didn't touch one.
Yeah.
What would your biopic be called if you had a movie after you?
I don't know. The Life and Times of Ed Gutter.
Okay.
Something simple like that, I'm not too complicated. I like simple stuff.
Who would play you?
Shoot, I don't know. There's a couple actors that people say look like me. I don't want to get into that. I don't even know. I'm not even good with actors' names. I don't even watch movies like that.
One thing that I learned out of this interview, I watched a lot of TV when I was coming up. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of shows. And it's like every answer that you've given when it comes to your creativity is kind of like, yo, I drew. You know what I'm saying? or music, like either drawing or music or whatever. And man, I probably was overexposed to that stuff. And that's like why, like, I'm not an artistic person. Like, I do things that can align with an artist, but I'm not an artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm something else. You know what I'm saying? I have a creative side and I can put things together, and I deal with graphic designers that I can tell them, what and how to put it together. But I think by you not watching a lot of television and doing things like, comic book, like things that required your imagination, that helped you when it came to, your craft of the art. You know what I'm saying? A lot.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I never thought about it that way. You're right. Like, I never thought about that way at all. Like, because now it's like, people, you try to do let's say, for example, you're doing a logo for someone. If you go to Instagram, you look at what other people have done and kind of like use that as a reference. You're kind of using a reference of a reference, you understand? Because like they use someone else as a reference, and then when you come back to the drawing board, you kind of got these images stuck in your head. So it's like, yeah, the work's gonna be original, but you're still gonna have a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there, So when you don't really look at nothing, it comes straight from your imagination. That's like 100% you. But at the same time, there will be a little bit of influence of, this artist, that artist, or a little bit of influence from this culture, that culture in there. So I mean, yeah, like you're right. The less you look around, the more imagination you have to have, and the more original your work probably look.
Yeah, no, that's one thing. It was like every question that had to do with you. Like I'll say the biggest one though, man, for you to not have seen Black Panther, man, and not saying like that's just the beginning and the end of the world and all that, but it was. Jeremy's good on the statistics and all and the numbers. Was Black Panther the highest grossing like Marvel film?
No, Endgame definitely.
Oh well, it had Black Panther in it, so
Black Panther was up there though. Black Panther was up there, but Endgame definitely one of the because Endgame is one of the highest grossing highest grossing films of all time, like literally behind Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah. For Black Panther, I can tell you. Shit, I can answer that right now. Really. What was the official question though?
The highest was Black Panther, the highest grossing Marvel film.
Well, no, I can answer that. Highest grossing Marvel
I think I'm gonna watch it now.
First film open.
I guess you guys are making me want to watch it now. So.
Man,
I think it beat. I know it was up there. It had to beat Dark Knight. I know that. It was Black Panther 1 beat Dark Knight. I don't know what the second one gonna end at. But yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I think the reason why I didn't bother watching it because it was just so much. I thought there was so much hype around it,
Oh man!
And I'm not like if something has hype, I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till it dies out and then I'll watch it on my own.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
So like right now, I'm barely watching Sopranos right now.
Oh man!
So that's the way I am. Like I don't like watching things when they first come out. I wait for it to die out and then check it out. Yeah, because by that time I'll forget all the reviews that I've seen. I heard like everything that everyone talked about. I'll forget all that stuff and just watch it like for the first time on my own without any influence.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I'll say, Black Panther was worth it, man. It was
Black Panther is the 6th highest grossing Marvel film. Dang. Yeah, I mean it's hard to go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. They made it seem like it was the cat's me, like it was like that was the one. I would have thought that was the one.
I mean, none of these movies are no joke though. I mean, this is still pretty big. I mean, the competition is Avengers. The other ones are all Avengers movie, and then Spider-Man: No Way Home had 3. It had all 3 Spider-Man in it. So this is still. Yeah. I say Black Panther is of all these. Black Panther is the only first movie.
The youngest.
No, it's not the youngest. Because Spider-Man No Way Home is that just came out last year.
Okay.
But Black Panther is the only like original franchise film of these. I mean, unless you want to count Civil War. But I mean that's still no joke. That's crazy. But yeah, literally Avengers Endgame is damn near $3 billion. So that's hard to beat. Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home, that's about to cross into $2 billion. So
what?
Yeah. I mean, this is like the top of the top stack. So you need a whole franchise behind you in order to even compete in this area. Unless it's Avatar, that's the only film series that could. I still don't think they beat Avatar. They came close, but I don't think they beat them.
Wow.
Yeah,
I never would have thought that.
We up here in these numbers, man. But you're right. I am a numbers guy. I really. People be like, "Oh man, the album was a success." I'd be like, "What do they sell?" They'd be like, "Why does that talk sales?" That's how we know. So Donald Trump just announced his run for president in the year 2024. Thoughts, opinions?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
I mean, they speculated it, but yeah, today he just announced that he's going to run for president November 2024.
Damn. I just hope we get out of this whole inflation. Let's hope the economy gets better. That's I mean, because
So you got your vote.
with presidents, I feel like there's always going to be something that we disagree with, and there's going to be a couple of things that we might agree with. I mean, every president. I mean, I feel like it's like that. There doesn't be things that you align with. There's going to be things that you don't like about them. So, I mean, I think the best choice is whatever's better for the country and the people. Not for the president's pockets.
I think what you're saying is on point. So that means he has your vote, right?
I guess so. I gotta check his policies.
We know his policies, man. He was the last president.
If they're the same, yeah, shit.
There it is. Okay, that's good. Hey, so can you? We're gonna title this podcast "Ed Gutter is a Trump supporter." You cool with that?
I don't know about full support, but like, if you can make this country better, shit, do it, man. But do it for real. Don't just say it. Don't just say it and get the votes and then do something else.
I got a theory.
Okay.
My theory is whenever there's a change of the guard with the president, whatever the prior president does leaks into the next presidency at least 3 years or so. Yep. So it's kind of like it seemed to people like Trump had it cracking and things were better, but it was actually the work that Obama had done. And then when Trump started to fade out and then Biden came in, then it was kind of like Biden got stuck with the stuff that Trump did. And then there's this thing that I can't understand. And it's crazy how, with Kanye and whatnot, talking about, people of power and this, that, and the third. And it's amazing to me for like Donald Trump, for there to be so much on the guy that he's done that's been just absolutely
patriotic.
The opposite of okay. The opposite of, thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy's a comedian, man. You got to remember that. I forget sometimes, and then I'm reminded.
I mean, I'm just having a conversation, bro. I am not performing. I'm not performing. Just a conversation.
He's done so many horrible things, the opposite of patriotic. But the crazy thing about it is, the dude is made out of Teflon. Like I thought he was being cocky when he said, I could write, I think he said something like, I could walk right out in Central Park and I could shoot somebody and I'd still get elected president. Or he said something ridiculous like that. And it's like, the dude does these things and people ain't even tripping off that, man. Like, that's not even, and not just regular people. You have like the most religious conservative people, which like, man, conservative people, they like man, I'm talking about no brown liquor on Sunday conservative people. I'm talking about no rap music being played on the radio in the city on until nighttime. The rap, you get a little bit of rap, there's a touch, like maybe around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. That type of conservative. Dude, he had all these people, man. He had all these people, and he talked crazy as hell. They had proof that he talked crazy as hell. He spoke very divisive language and dog whistles, and he pandered to people on the, he pandered to all people to get them stirred up or whatever. And then I don't know if either of you guys, I know you didn't, Ed, but Jeremy, did you see the Royal Tenenbaums?
Yeah.
Okay, there was a scene that reminds me of Donald Trump, and Danny Glover is in the kitchen with Gene Gene Hackman? What was homeboy's name?
I got you.
Gene Hackman, I think.
Okay.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah. Gene Hackman, yep.
Yep. So basically, Ed, Angelica Houston, she was like the female person in the Addams Family or whatever, or, attractive older lady, whatever. So she's used to be married to Gene Hackman, but he's a con man. So he's kind of like, he knows that she's might be interested in Danny Glover. So Gene Hackman says he has cancer to get back in the house to try to keep them from getting close. So Gene Hackman is, he's faking the cancer, and Danny Glover's kind of on to him. Danny Glover's an anthropologist, like a nerd or whatever. And so they're in the kitchen, and then Gene Hackman says something like, he didn't say it, but it was something close. He's like, jigaboo. And then Danny Glover says, huh? What'd you say? He said, I didn't say anything. and then Gene Hackman says, jigaboo.
Oh shit!
Wow.
And then it wasn't that bad, but it was some type of inflammatory conversation. Mm-hmm. And so Danny Glover gets all riled up, and then Angelica Houston comes in, and then Gene Hackman just backs off like he wasn't saying nothing, like Danny Glover was crazy. But I say that to say that's kind of how Trump is. He'll just say the craziest thing, and then somebody will be, "What did you say?" Be like,
no. Dang.
And it's like he plays that trick, and like the people in his party, they it's like they ain't even tripping off that, man.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They ain't even tripping.
Going on, yeah.
Like for everything that they said that Trump, and I'm gonna get to the last question. I'm not gonna make this. I'm not gonna make it what I done already made it. Better yet, we gonna leave that where it is. Nothing that I'm gonna say that's gonna make that different, and it is what it is. So Ed, if you could have your dream, if you could watch your dream versus Dead or Alive, who would it be?
What was that? Hold on, let me turn the volume up real quick. What was that?
If you could have your dream versus Dead or Alive, who would it be?
To be either dead or alive?
Yeah, versus, like, when you have artists that kind of battle each other, or they go against each other.
Oh, okay. A dream battle. Dang, man. Of artists?
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. You know what? Oh man, but see, like, okay, I'm thinking, I'm getting thoughts, but like these guys are like two different genres.
Don't matter.
Different styles.
Don't matter.
I would say, man, I mean, it doesn't even make sense though. Like, I'm thinking of like Dali versus Michelangelo, but it don't make sense because like Dali's like super, surrealistic, and then Michelangelo's like super realistic, so like it don't even make sense. But man, maybe like shit. Probably, you know what? How about we see Basquiat and Andy Warhol again?
Oh man, nah, that's a cool spin on it. I actually meant musical artists, but I'll take
musical artists.
Yeah, but
I'll take like MCs.
Nah, whatever, singers, whatever. But I'll take the actual artists.
Oh, you're talking about the verses, the one of those. Yeah. Oh shoot, dang. Let me see. Oh man, would it be dope to see go at it? Dang. You know what I think would be crazy? Would be like Count Basie and like Thelonious Monk.
You know, something wild. You keep on educating me, man. I don't know why.
I might have had. I'll be sick, man. Like just freestyling on the piano, like, oh man, dang.
I might have had a couple of them, man. For whatever reason, when I think of you and DJing, I just remember you playing some of the oldies. But you know what? You might not have been DJing that night, because I know, was it you or one of your buddies that was selling the 45 record players?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay. So you were probably just there at the thing that Gargamel.
I was probably just there with Gargamel, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that you were DJing. Okay, that's cool. All right, so now I'm gonna hit you with the last one. Coming out of COVID, us seeing the craziest things that we thought we would never see for the last 2 years, whatnot, or whatever. How do you see social progression going in the next 2 years? Like now, people can go out to clubs again. People can kind of move around freely. From being
I think some people will be tainted by it, just because they did have. I mean, I know people, and I know some of my friends. They had family members and stuff that passed away from it. So I mean, I think people will still be cautious about it. But I think people are just like eager for it to go back to the way it was, just be out there not having to worry about catching the virus, But I mean, I think that's still in the back of everyone's minds, here and there. Like, should I go out tonight or not? Because I know it's in the back of my mind. I think about something like after the fact that I went out. I'm like, shit, should I have been there last night? Like, dang,
am I gonna catch it?
I'm like, we'll see in a week. See if I'm still doing good.
When I went to that cookies event, I was like, okay, man, was this worth me waiting for 3 days to figure out after I'd been around all these smokers and everybody very close environment, whatever.
Yeah.
Worth it? And then I was like, it wasn't worth it, but it wasn't. If this is how I'm gonna get it, I did have a pretty cool time, what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was only there for a minute. I left early, but yeah, I was like, man, like I think about that like prior, and then more after the fact. Cause like prior, I'm like, all right, cool, I'll show up, and I'm like, damn, should I be going or I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna just show up, show face real quick, and then after I end up staying there all night. The next morning, I'm like, dang, was that a wise choice? So I think it probably will affect the way people meet up and stuff, Because I mean, I see it in the stores still. People are still being cautious, especially the hospitals. The hospitals are crazy. They're still, well, they're being a little bit more lenient now. But I mean, when you're in the waiting room, you have to have your mask on at all times because there's just so many people there. I mean, and I think it's good because at the same time you're in a room with people that are all sick. So you don't want to be catching what homeboy next to you has. So I mean, that's smart for the hospital. The ER room and stuff, but I mean, shit. As far as being in a packed place, being at a club, man, like I still think about it here and there, But yeah, I mean, shit. I just hope it all goes away. But
I remember thinking, like, man, a fist bump is gonna be a fist bump of dap is gonna be the equivalent of a hug around this mug, or
yeah.
Everything gonna be reduced.
Yeah, the least contact.
I'll say that I've through evolution, I give a fist bump now, but this elbow right here, man, was the only thing that was gonna be contaminated for quite some time. You understand me? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, nah, dude, I want to thank you, man, for the interview. I'll say,
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a fan of your art, and
thank you. Likewise.
I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Man, for whatever, I don't know why. Man, I have no idea. I thought you were just like super obscure, like lowrider oldies, 45, whatever. I'm hearing you funk. You talking about all kind of hip hop, just everything. I'm like, okay. I gotta stop.
Yeah, just just doing graffiti and all that, like that whole world was like I was always around hip hop, always. So I mean that's always gonna still stay. But I mean, like I said, like the oldies, they've always been around. But why I play them personally is because all that stuff's been sampled, and I get joy out of that, out of playing like song like, and then there's been times where I'll be spinning, and I'll be doing all samples, and there'll be hip hop heads in the room. They'll be like, yo, like, dang, man, like you got all these, like, these are all fire. And like other people aren't really feeling what I'm doing. They don't know what I'm doing. And they'll be like, yo, let me get you a drink. What do you, like, just keep playing those bangers. And I'll just be playing samples. And, like some people like, why is the homeboy all excited, But yeah, like truthfully, that's why I like it, I mean, and the music's good too, don't get me wrong. I mean, oldies and all that, soul music, all that's it's always been dope. You know, like from the instrumentation, you know, to the singers, you know, especially with like that sweet soul when they hit those high notes. That's dope. Like I like that. But
Mhm.
you know, for me, it's more on the hip hop side. You know, like if you ever catch one of my sets, you'll see me trying to match beats with two oldie records, and sometimes you know I'll do it, and people trip out like, What do you just do? Like you just blended in two oldie tracks, like man. And if you're a DJ, you know how to catch your beats, match up. You know, like you know you could do that. And yeah.
Nah, that's dope. So if people want to go check out some of your art, hit you up for graphic design, all that kind of stuff, where should they go?
Instagram. I always post everything I'm doing right there. That's the most relevant. Is Instagram. My stories. I always post flyers that I'm included in. My next gig, as far as spinning, DJing, is gonna be next Saturday in Echo Park. We're gonna be doing this. We're giving away turkeys and food for Thanksgiving to families. Um, from what I heard, Danny Trevor's gonna be there. So, you know, I'll be there spinning alongside with my boy KV Cave. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, on my Instagram at Mr. Mr.Mr.Edgutter.
So the event on Saturday, is it going to be the Saturday after Thanksgiving or this Saturday coming up?
Shoot, I think it's after Thanksgiving. I mean, that's kind of weird. I don't know why they're doing it that way, but yeah. I think
Okay.
you know what? I think just might be giving away food, I think.
Yeah, they probably.
I haven't read the whole flyer yet, so I'm still
Okay.
like, you know, it's still
Nah,
it's really sticking to my mind right now.
well, hopefully they follow you on Instagram and they'll be able to go and see it for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you do is play records and draw. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
That other stuff might not be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Might not be so. And what's up with you, Jeremy? You got any shows coming up? Jeremy?
You
Oh
there?
man. Yeah, we might have lost him.
Oh
So
man.
with that being said, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. Thank you, Mr. Ed Gutter. I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And I'm definitely gonna hit you up for a few projects and whatnot.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, man. It was cool.